Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of 10 for the Chairman. I'm currently doing my Gamescom homework for some stuff that we'll give away at Gamescom. But 10 for the Chairman, for those of you who don't know about it, is the show where I take 10 questions from subscribers of our community and answer them to the best of my ability. Subscribers are the sub-portion of our community that contribute money every month to allow us to do an extended, enhanced amount of community content. So this show around the verse, the behind the CryEngine sort of video sequences we do when we sort of talk about like the planet side piece that we did recently that everyone quite liked, as well as the Jump Point magazine, which is 50 to 70 pages of sort of more in-depth behind the scenes of how we build some of the assets, what we've been doing, and you know, those contributions really allow us to do you know, a high degree of interaction with everyone out there in the community, and so it's really appreciated. So because without that financing, we probably wouldn't be able to have quite as many people dedicated to helping communicate to you guys, which you know, I really enjoy the sort of open process that we have. So thank you to all the subscribers for allowing us to do this sort of enhanced level of community interaction. Speaking of that, I should say thank you. We had a little delivery last week of mini cupcakes for the team here in Los Angeles. So it was from Sweeties, the mini bake shop, and it was thank you to all the hardworking members at CryEngine, from Stabby McPunch, Captain Gloom, I think, Dr. Anatine, Reaper, Renegade Shank, Akarok, and the rest of the enablers at the SCAA, which I'm assuming is Star Citizens Addicts Anonymous, but that's just a wild guess from me. So thank you guys. It was much enjoyed by the team, so we really appreciate that. And they were mini, so it was good. So you know, it's not too much sugar, you know, because we're in a sedentary job here. So we would, you know, I mean, I guess it would help people sit in their seats longer, but we appreciated the cupcakes. So anyway, let's get to the questions. The very first one comes from Socrates, who asks, how important is it to you that this game set a visual standard for modern games? Will you try to make the graphics advanced enough to test enthusiast PCs in 2015? Yes, I will. No, it's really important for me. I mean, I think if you know the games I did in the past, you know, Wing Commander onwards, they were always trying to set a visual bar, and sometimes they probably went beyond what most of the machines could do at the time. I mean, Strike Command is a pretty good example of one that you know, on a 486/66 megahertz, it was a pretty amazing experience. But if you didn't have something like that, then it was you know, the frame rate wasn't so great and all the rest of stuff. And but you know, it was the very first PC game that had real-time proper 3D texture mapping, Garode shading. So it had a whole bunch of stuff that didn't show up in other games in you know, the PC gaming world anyway, until quite a few years later. And that was mainly because we were sort of pushing it, and we, you know, read up a whole bunch of sort of white papers from places like SIGGRAPH and try to adapt that you know, into the old days of software rendering, which, you know, luckily we don't have to deal with now with all the hardware rendering. But yeah, so I'm very keen on pushing it. You know, one of the reasons why I picked CryEngine was that it's visually a very advanced engine. I mean, you know, CryEngine is the engine that did Crysis 1, which I think probably to this day is still sort of the game that you would think about of that, you know, pushed the PC hardware platform. Was probably the last one that really sort of had that ambition, and I really would like Star Citizen to sort of continue doing that. So CryEngine is a good base, but we have you know, we actually have a fair amount of graphics engineers and some core engine people. So besides the stuff we get from Crytek, we're actually trying to do some really cool stuff ourselves and enhance it, and we will continue to try and push it. So, you know, whatever is available in 2015 and beyond, 2016, etc., we will always be trying to upgrade the visuals and push it. You can sort of see it as the game goes along. So, you know, the Hornet itself has now been through 3 iterations. So there's the iteration for my original prototype that I showed in 2012. Then we did an up-res of it for its first debut in the Hangars, and then we did yet another up-res of it to the dogfighting module where it got fully PBR'd and stuff. And you've seen the 300i get an up-res from its Hangar version, and we're doing similar stuff for the Constellation and the Aurora and a bunch of the other ships. So we're always constantly trying to look to push it and make it better, and I think that's one of the reasons why you guys are excited by Star Citizen. Okay, next question comes from Premium Shank, who asks, on organizational dues/taxes, will they be to where the player contributes manually or automatically? I think the answer on that is it's going to be set up by who set up the organization. So I'm sure some organizations will make, say, their contributions voluntary by the people, and some organizations will make them mandatory. And so if you're not actually contributing, the leader of the organization can kick you out. And so it sort of would be an organizational setting or choice you could do. And I guess it would be up to you whether you would be happy with joining that organization set up that way. Okay, next question comes from Headless Chuck. That sounds like a Muriel's Wedding reference. Are you able to give some more details on the ship skins available in the Pledge store? Will the skins be able to be applied to all ship classes or just the original 5? I have all of them as another way to support and would love to have some more details. Yeah, so ship skins is kind of still slightly up in the air. Longer term, we have a process, and we've discussed some tech that we're going to do to allow you to sort of paint and customize your ships, and obviously that is also the same sort of tech that we'll be using for the ship skin. So if we can get that tech to be more flexible and more generic, then it would be easier to have the skins be on multiple ships. If it's not, and we have to sort of do a custom skin for each individual ship, then in those cases the skin would only really be applicable to the original ones that we said it would be. But we don't know yet, so we're still doing R&D. I mean, our goal is to make it sort of as flexible and as possible, but that's sort of in our graphics kind of R&D pipeline, so we haven't done it yet. So it could kind of go either way right now. Okay, next question comes from Black Dragon. I've noticed a lot of the capital ships are mostly based around carrying and supporting fighters and other craft. Will there be any capital ships that are more firepower based like you'd expect out of a battleship or a missile cruiser? Still holding out for a space Yamato. Yes, I loved that series as a child. Yes, no, there will definitely be some ships that will be firepower based. I mean, I would expect that most big ships in space and in our universe would always have some kind of ability to have a complement of fighter craft. I mean, even a big battleship. But we definitely have a couple of ships on the drawing board, mainly for Squadron 42, that are just a huge, massive battleship that sort of dwarfs a Bengal carrier. So yes, and they've got some pretty heavy-duty weaponry. So yes, there will be other ships that will be more firepower-based or more missile-based, like a missile cruiser and stuff like that. Okay, next question comes from Kit Bash, who asks, how can we expect Spectrum matchmaking, public or private, to work with groups? Will lobbies or group invites be involved in some ways? Will that process change with the addition of multi-crew ships? So yes, 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 and yes. Yeah, we're actually working. We have a design for sort of the lobby and the matchmaking system. It's obviously going to involve the organizations. So basically organizations will be sort of groups, and we'll sort of fold in a part of the organization system to also sort of support ad hoc groups that you could build. It's almost like an ad hoc organization, because really an organization is really just a grouping of people. And so like just a friends list or an ad hoc group is really just a flat organization that you can create and destroy on the fly. But yeah, we're working on that. So we've been sort of fleshing out the design for that, and our goal is to sort of get that up and running hopefully by 1.0. So 0.9, which is sort of what we're going to be releasing just after Gamescom, is we call it internally release 13. The next big one will be release 14, and I'm expecting that we should have some kind of lobby and matchmaking stuff by release 14, which is Arena Commander v1.0, which actually will have more features in than we'd originally promised in packs, but that's us. We like to put more things in. And the process will change slightly with the addition of multi-crew ships, but we've also designed out that aspect where you can invite people to be on your crew and stuff. Obviously, that won't roll out with V1.0 because the multi-crew stuff won't be out then, but we're already designing and building towards that. Okay, next question comes from Drum, who asks, if a Vandal neutral ship, Banu for instance, or even a Scythe, was just gliding along and minding its own business, is there a possibility that it would be ignored by the Vandal? Yeah, I mean, I think so. It sort of would depend. I mean, it also depends on various reputations and all the rest of stuff. I mean, the Vandal don't always automatically attack everyone, but they're very likely to attack a human ship or definitely they'll attack a human military ship. But you know, it would all be based on sort of the reputation system and you know, how that particular clan had its relationship with whoever, you know, the Banu ship was or whatever. That is still something that you know, would be fleshed out, but that would be kind of how it would be handled. All right, next question comes from Crimson Hawk Moth, who asks, I would like to know, how does the entire "here, you fly my ship" work? Is there a contract signing of some sort? If they crash it, does the owner get it back with or without insurance? Is the person you're lending the ship to allowed to fly back the coordinates of your hangar and land it in place? I would just like to know how all this is supposed to work. Yes, good question. I'd like to know how it's going to work too. But no, I mean, in more all seriousness, you know, we do plan for you to be able to loan out your ships. We haven't worked out the specific details of, you know, sort of the edge cases. You know, what happens when he doesn't want to give it back to you? What happens if he's flown your ship to the other side of the galaxy, and you're on this side and you want your ship back, and he's not going to bring it back for you, or he's just left the game? Do you have to go over there to get it? How do you get it back? Does he bring it back to you? Does it automatically just come back to your hangar after a period of time? So we haven't fleshed out that part of the design yet, and that is definitely something that we will need to do for the persistent universe. It's just not there's some other sort of more important things to get out of the way before we get into the loaning of ship stuff. So you know, we'll definitely have that figured out, how you can loan ships for other people, and we just got to figure out the issues of the edge cases I brought up, which is, I'm sure, why you're writing this question. So hold on for the answer on that one. Next question comes from William George, who asks, during Around the Verse episode 8, we were showing several different potential color schemes for the exterior of the M50. How much control will we have over the look of our ships once the PU launches? Will it be a selection of colors like this, or will we be able to more fully change the color of ships, like custom car painting? What impact will the skins available for pledging now have? And will they work on all ships equally? This question sounds very much like the question from Headless Chuck. The M50 is going to be right now in the one scheme. Long term, as I said, we were working on a kind of customization setup, so players can determine, you know, can set up specific colors for their ships, put names on their ships and stuff like that. So we're still in the sort of tech R&D phase for that. We'd like to make it fairly flexible, so you could do some more sort of custom stuff. You know, but in the very least, you should be able to sort of change out in like a primary or secondary color. And when that becomes online, we'll definitely allow the player to, you know, like something like the M50, be able to buy it in a few different liveries. And then again, the skins that are available for pledging now, essentially how flexible the tech is will dictate how many ships those skins will be available on. If the tech isn't so flexible, then it will be on a lesser amount of them. If it's pretty flexible, then we'd make it available to pretty much most of them. That makes sense anyway. I mean, I doubt the paint job that goes on a small fighter would be applicable for a paint job, say, on a Bengal carrier or something. All right, next question. Take a look up a sip of tea. Comes from Suaja Karawin. I don't know. Spell SUJAKERROIN. Is it possible to get an underwater hangar, since we now have plenty of water planets in the verse? If that is not possible, how about bigger aquariums to cover entire walls, or any other cool hangar environments? Okay, so I think you're a water and a fish fan. I don't know. I mean, we haven't actually considered underwater hangar. I mean, I do know we have some longer term plans besides I mean, we're in the process. I mean, I think we previewed the asteroid hangar, which I think looks beautiful, but we're doing a full makeover of the sort of base hangars, and we're going to be shifting it away from names like discount or business or deluxe, because it doesn't really make sense. We have different manufacturers, so we're going more in fiction. So we have a Selfland hangar, we got a AeroView hangar, and we've got a Revel in New York hangar, and they're all actually going to be beautiful in PBR. So that'll be coming out down the road here, along with the asteroid hangar. And we would plan to also have maybe some other models or stuff that would be developed over time. So who knows about something that could be underwater. That's actually kind of a cool idea, but it definitely isn't something we're working on right now. And I definitely think we're going to have some you know, more areas to like put whatever you want to call it, flair, decoration, ornaments, props inside the hangars, like bigger fish tanks, or I mean, the new set of hangars we have really kind of cool lounge and living areas. So they feel night and day. I mean, the last ones feel less gen to me, and these new ones feel sort of very next gen. So we're really going to push that. And one of the other things we'll probably do with the hangars is it'll sort of be appropriate to the planet that, like, say you're based on, or you're flying off, because if you're on a sort of a planet in the sort of outer reaches of the galaxy that just has a colony on it, you're not going to have a big flashy hangar that would maybe say be on Terra, because they just haven't built out their infrastructure to that level. So anyway, I think you'll be excited by the new hangars, and I hope I answered that question as well as I could. All right, last question comes from Almighty Verb, who asked, just wondering about the possibility of finding yourself stuck planetside. If your character is in severe debt and can't get another loan as a result, this could lead to some unique and interesting interactions. If there were ways for a player to earn money on the surface, such as courier missions or even just mundane jobs, this could function as a catch-all to prevent bankruptcy and greatly increase immersion. So yeah, no, that's a great idea. I mean, I've actually, Tony Zurovic and I have been sort of discussing, how to really sort of make missions beyond just the standard sort of space missions where like, okay, let's take this item from planet A to planet B, let's escort this ship from planet A to planet B, let's go after this ship. The sort of standard space stuff, how we can sort of like really take advantage of, one of the special things about Star Citizen, which is, basically it's all based around a kind of first-person engine. So we walk around in high fidelity, then we get in our ships and fly around. So we have high fidelity down on the planet-side environments, or in, environments up in space like a space station and stuff. So, I think we're really thinking about how to sort of take advantage of that, because for us it's fairly low-hanging fruit, because we're going to have all the motion sets, we've got all the combat stuff already there, so it's really more a matter of like creating some environments and populating some AI. So we'll definitely have some ship-based kind of missions. So potentially, that would be stuff that you could potentially try and do, and then obviously, like if you're like in debt and you can't get another loan, you certainly will be able to take jobs. And by the way, you can take, like as a pilot, like as a trucker, or as someone, a hired gun to fly someone else's ship. So those will always be available as well, and would probably add in some kind of planetary side stuff, because we're sort of thinking about elements to do that pretty well. And I think that's one of the things that's going to really make Star Citizen in the long run sort of shine. So, it's a lot of stuff to get done, right? We're super early. I mean, what people are playing is even just a small portion of the space stuff. But all the stuff that we have longer term coming down the pike, I think is really going to flesh it out in a way that I think people will be really happy with. It just isn't all happening tomorrow, but that's the nature of the beast when it's such a big, ambitious game. But you guys will be along the way with us the whole time of the journey, sharing it, experiencing it as we're getting it to work, and I think it's a great way to make games. So in closing that, I want to thank everyone. Thank you for watching this. Thank everyone that's backed the game, because without your support, we wouldn't be at this place. We wouldn't be able to be building the game at this level of ambition, which is admittedly pretty crazy, but bloody damn awesome. And I'd like to also thank the subscribers again for contributing the extra money to allow us to do this kind of content and the other very community focused content. So I will see you next week.